So here we are, back in my beloved Lviv. And yet again, good old Taras Shevchenko. So I got back here less than 24 hours ago. Got in very late last night after a drive, a red-eye flight, Chicago to Warsaw, which was, red-eye flights, gotta love those. Flew into Warsaw, met with a friend of a friend who drove me, bless his heart, all the way from Warsaw across the border, where I was stopped for a couple of hours because of all the various Ukrainian stamps I have in my passport. Why do you keep coming back and forth from Ukraine? You've spent so much time here. Luckily, I have found out that there's a new edict from the parliament and the president's office extending the stay of anybody who is a properly accredited journalist until what they call the period of martial law is concluded. So basically, until the end of the war, I can stay here in Ukraine as long as I want. I got everything I needed to do back in the States done. That's completed. Of course, here, once again, also beautiful and lovely Lviv, or Vienna Cafe here in Lviv, where I held a bunch of interviews, most notably with the Ukrainian history professor, who, if you haven't watched that one, I highly recommend going back and watching that vlog. So I'm going to be doing a lot more interviews and a lot less of these kind of vlogs, and certainly a lot less of the kind of produced reports that I would have done when I worked for a television network. It's just too much effort for one man to do with too little result, frankly, in production value, and I'm not going to put out something I'm not happy with in terms of production value. So less reports. I'll still be doing these vlogs, but hopefully more interviews, and that'll pick up significantly once I have a studio, which I intend on building out of a language school in Kiev. Now I'll be going onwards to Kiev in the next few days here, and I'll be basing myself primarily there. We can take a little walk here through Lviv to a section of Lviv I don't think I've shown you going from this direction. So we started at Shevchenko, we've got Vienna Cafe, and then right here, the Central Church, where they held memorial and funeral services, and presumably still do, but I haven't been here long enough to verify that with my own two eyes. So we're going to walk through here up to Market Square, where I used to live when I lived here in Lviv at the very beginning of this war. Anyway, oh my goodness, okay, well, this is neat. Here's one change that has come about since my time away. The facade of the church, which had been undergoing renovations, has now been cleared. So we'll get a good look at this lovely old church. Those of you who have followed my vlogs will recognize it's the Peter and Paul Cathedral. And those are the statuary and the facade of the building, which of course when I was living here and spending so much time here, have been covered as part of a UNESCO heritage project. There's a neat little restaurant that I used to go to occasionally that does vareniki almost exclusively. Vareniki are a Ukrainian dumpling, kind of like a ravioli, and you just, whatever's in there is in there, whether it's meat or mushrooms. They do generally, there's a potato mushroom, potato cheese mushroom. They do a sweet version in the way of cherries, but it's interesting to be back in Lviv. It is eerie because we're still in the aftermath of Monday's attacks, and I just had lunch with a dear friend who was here for those attacks. And aside from the events of the actual day, and just the chaos and the fear that happened on that day, she said to me one thing that I think I really wanted to relay to you guys, and that is this. She said, in the aftermath, there's been a change. There's been a change in the character and the mood of the people in Ukraine. And I said, what? More scared? And they said, well, yeah, okay, there's some of that. But there is a sense of resilience and determination not to be scared into capitulating to the Russians. There is a distinct feeling, she said, amongst the country, at large, but then also within mass media, this sense of like, we are not going to be intimidated into a peace that it is not something we want. So she said, like, things were happening when the attacks had happened, where in Russian blogosphere, they talked about, look, they don't have any power in Ukraine. To which the Ukrainian blogosphere reacted, yes, we have candles. And isn't our city lovely when it's lit up by candlelight as opposed to electricity? It's that attitude we're talking about here. So, Reenac Square, Market Square, where I used to live for months. It's weird being back after having been away for so long. But I'm determined to stick this out. I did what I had to do back in the States. I have no other obligations. From now on in, I'm here for good. And I'm not running anywhere either. I'm standing with these people, with these Ukrainians, and it's a privilege. It's a real privilege to be standing alongside people who are fighting for democracy. And perhaps we take it for granted too often. One of the things I did when I was back in the States was vote. Proud to do it. But I'm standing here and I'm privileged to stand here with these people. So, since we kind of are turning a chapter, I'm going to change my closing. Normally I would say, Slava Ukraina, and I still occasionally will. But I'm going to change that a little bit. My closing from now on until the end of my time here during this period is this. Skora peremocha. Soon there will be victory. Thanks for everyone for sticking with me. Thanks for everyone to continue watching these vlogs. Please spread and, continue to watch. At the end of the day, there'll be victory here. And this is going to be an amazing country. So come and visit when you can. I'm happy to be back. I'm not afraid. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Stay in touch, guys. And I'll be on this weekend, I suspect, with Hal. Skora peremocha.